Chapter 1. A New Hobby Begins. My name is Anna. I am 21 years old and I live in a small town. My town is not very big, but it is beautiful. It has trees and flowers everywhere. I live with my family. My family is small. My mother is a teacher and my father works in a shop. I also have a younger brother. His name is Alex. He is 12 years old. We live in a small house. We are happy together. I like to do many things. I like to read books and listen to music. But I have a new hobby now. I like to watch movies in English. I started this hobby 2 months ago. At first, it was hard for me. I did not understand the words. The actors spoke very fast. Sometimes I stopped the movie and looked up the words. My brother also likes movies, but he watches movies in our language. He says English movies are too hard, but I like the challenge. One day I saw an English movie on TV. The movie was about a young girl who moved to a new city. She did not speak English well, but she wanted to make friends and go to school. She started watching English movies and practicing speaking. In the end, she spoke like a native speaker. She was very good at English. I liked the movie a lot. It made me think. I thought, if she can do it, I can do it too. After that, I decided to watch one English movie every week. At first, I watched movies with subtitles in my language. The subtitles helped me understand the story. I also wrote down new words in my notebook. Every day I read the words and tried to remember them. I practiced saying them out loud. My mother saw me doing this. She said, "Anna, you work very hard. You can learn English if you keep going." Her words made me happy. In the beginning, I was shy to speak English. I thought I would make mistakes. My brother laughed at me sometimes. He said, "Why do you watch movies in English?" You do not understand. But I did not stop. I knew that if I kept trying, I would understand one day. Every evening, I watched a little part of a movie. I repeated the sentences many times. I also tried to copy the way the actors spoke. Sometimes I stood in front of a mirror and talked like them. I said, "Hello, how are you?" and "Nice to meet you." I felt proud when I spoke well. It was like I was acting in the movie too. One day, I watched a movie about a family who traveled to another country. The children in the movie went to a new school. They made new friends and learned new words. I watched the movie 3 times because I liked it so much. The children spoke very fast, but I understood some words. I learned how to say "good job" and "I am happy." These words were easy, but they made me feel good. I used them in my daily life too. In school, I had English class. My teacher was very kind. She said that watching movies is a good way to learn English. She told me to listen carefully and try to speak like the actors. She said, "Do not be shy. Speak as much as you can." I was happy to hear this. I felt stronger and more confident. I also talked to my best friend, Maria, about my hobby. She did not watch English movies, but she liked my idea. She said, "Anna, you are very brave. I want to try too." So we started to watch movies together on weekends. We chose movies with easy words first. We laughed a lot when we watched them. Sometimes we did not understand everything, but we tried our best. We said, Let's try again. Maria and I also played games with the new words. We made cards with the English words and pictures. We showed the cards to each other and said the words out loud. It was fun and helped us remember the words. My mother saw us playing and said, "This is a very good way to learn. I am proud of you both." After a few weeks, I saw that I was learning many new words. I could say short sentences like, "Can you help me?" And "I like this movie." I felt very proud. My brother also saw that I was getting better. He said, "Anna, your English is good now." I was very happy to hear that from him. I also found that English movies have many different accents. Sometimes it was hard to understand when the actors spoke with a different accent. But I did not give up. I listened again and again until I understood. I also asked my English teacher to help me with hard words. She was always ready to help. One weekend, Maria and I watched a movie about a young boy who wanted to be a singer. The boy sang songs in English. We liked the songs very much. We wrote the lyrics of the songs in our notebooks and sang them together. It was a lot of fun. Singing helped us speak faster and more clearly. My mother said that singing is good for learning new words too. I also started to write short sentences in English. I wrote about the movies I watched. I wrote things like, "The boy is happy" and "The girl is brave." My teacher said that writing helps to remember the words, so I wrote a little every day. One day, Maria and I decided to make a list of our favorite English movies. We wrote the names of the movies and what we liked about them. Maria said, "We should watch all the movies on this list." I agreed. It was exciting to have a goal. Watching English movies became a big part of my life. I watched movies before going to bed. I also watched movies when I was sad or tired. The movies made me feel happy. They took me to new places and showed me new people. I loved the stories and the music. I loved the way the actors spoke. I started to think in English sometimes. When I saw something nice, I said in my head, "It's beautiful." When I was hungry, I thought, "I want to eat." It was funny. I felt like I was living in a movie. My mother laughed when I told her this. She said, "Anna, you are learning so much." One day, I had to speak English in my class. My teacher said, "Anna, can you tell us about your favorite movie?" I was nervous, but I stood up and said, "My favorite movie is about a girl who moves to a new city. She learns English and makes friends. I like this movie because it helps me learn too." My teacher smiled and said, "Good job, Anna." My friends also clapped. I felt very proud. After this, I was not shy anymore. I wanted to speak more. I started to use English words when I talked to my friends. Sometimes they laughed, but it was okay. I was happy to practice. I also helped Maria when she did not know a word. We learned together. Every day I watched movies, read new words, and spoke out loud. My English got better and better. My brother saw this and said, "Anna, you can speak like a native one day." His words made me smile. I wanted to try harder and harder. I knew that watching movies was helping me a lot. It was not just fun, it was also a way to learn. I wanted to tell everyone, movies can help you learn English. Just watch and listen. My teacher said I was right. She said, movies are a window to the world, and you can learn about other people and cultures too. Now, watching English movies is my favorite hobby. I feel happy and excited every time I watch a new movie. I feel like I am on a journey and I am getting better every day. Chapter 2: Practice Makes Perfect. After many days of watching English movies, I started to feel more confident. My listening was much better. I could understand many simple sentences. I still had to learn a lot, but I was happy with my progress. Maria and I talked about it often. She said, Anna, I feel better too. I can understand more now. One day, Maria and I went to the park. We took our notebooks with us. We sat on a bench and talked about our favorite movies. Maria said, I love the movie about the boy who travels to another city. I said, yes, I like it too. The songs are so nice. We talked in English even when some people around us did not understand. We were proud of ourselves. We also made a plan to practice speaking every day. We promised to speak English for 10 minutes every day. It was not easy at first. Sometimes we forgot words. Sometimes we laughed because we made mistakes, but we always tried again. We said, it is okay to make mistakes. We are learning. I also talked to my English teacher about my progress. I said, Teacher, I am trying to speak like the actors in the movies, but I still make many mistakes. She smiled and said, that is good, Anna. Mistakes help you learn. Do not be afraid. Her kind words made me feel stronger. One evening, my family watched a movie together. It was a funny movie. My brother did not want to watch it in English. He said, I do not understand. But I told him, just listen and try. It is fun. In the end, he laughed at the funny scenes too. My parents were happy to see us learning together. After that, my brother also wanted to try. He said, Anna, can I watch English movies with you? I said, of course. Let's watch together. It was so nice to share my hobby with him. We watched movies with easy words. We paused the movie and talked about the story. Sometimes we repeated the lines together. My brother said, this is like a game. I like it. Maria and I also started to write short stories in English. We wrote about our favorite movie scenes. Maria wrote about a dog in the movie. I wrote about a family in the city. We shared our stories with each other. My teacher said, writing helps you remember the words. Keep doing it. We felt happy to see our stories grow longer. At school, I also used English more. In English class, I answered questions. I said simple things like, the boy is happy, or the girl likes the cake. My teacher said, good, Anna. Speak more. I was still a little shy, but I tried. Every day I got a little better. One day my teacher gave us a small project. We had to talk about our hobbies in English. I was very excited. I stood in front of the class and said, my hobby is watching English movies. I like to listen and speak like the actors. It helps me learn new words. My teacher and classmates clapped for me. I felt proud and happy. Maria also talked about her hobby. She said, I like to watch movies with Anna. We practice together and have fun. We both smiled and felt proud of our hard work. My parents saw that I was learning a lot. My mother said, Anna, you are speaking English better every day. I am so happy for you. My father said, keep watching and learning. It is good for you. Their words made me feel proud. I wanted to work harder. At night, I often watched short videos in English. I liked funny videos about animals and people dancing. I laughed a lot, but I also learned new words. I wrote the new words in my notebook. Every day I read the words and said them out loud. My brother laughed when I talked to myself, but I said, I am practicing. I also joined a small English club at school. We met every week to talk in English. We played games and sang songs. We watched short videos and talked about them. It was a lot of fun. I met new friends who also liked English. We helped each other and learned together. One weekend, Maria and I watched a movie about a girl who wanted to be a doctor. The girl studied very hard. She spoke English with her teacher. I liked the movie a lot. I told Maria, I want to speak like the girl in the movie. She is very smart, Maria said. Me too. Let's try together. We wrote down new sentences from the movie. We practiced them again and again. Maria and I also started to read short English books. The books had easy stories with pictures. We liked to read them and act out the stories. My brother joined us too. We made funny voices for the characters. My mother watched us and said, you are having fun and learning too. We felt proud. Every time I watched a movie, I learned something new. I learned how to say, I am tired. Let's go, and that's great. These small sentences help me talk more. I use them when I talk to Maria and my brother. We practice together every day. I also like to listen to the music in the movies. I sang the songs and danced in my room. Singing helped me say the words clearly. My mother said, Anna, you have a nice voice. I laughed and said, I am just practicing my English. It was fun. After 2 months, I felt more comfortable speaking English. I could say short sentences and ask questions. I could say, what is your name? And where do you live? My teacher said, Anna, you are getting better. I am proud of you. I was so happy to hear that. Maria and I talked about what we wanted to do next. I said, I want to watch more movies and learn new words. Maria said, I want to sing more songs in English. We made a plan. We said, let's watch one movie every week and sing one song too. It was a good plan. We wrote it down in our notebooks. One evening, we watched a movie about friends who travel around the world. The friends spoke English in many different places. Maria said, I want to travel and speak English too. I said, me too. It would be amazing to talk to people from other countries. We also started to use English when we played games on my computer. The games had simple English instructions. We read them and played together. My brother said, this is fun and easy to understand. We laughed a lot and learned too. One night, my mother said, Anna, I see that English is now part of your life. You are always learning. I smiled and said, yes, Mama, I like it. It makes me happy. My father said, keep going. You will be very good one day. I knew he was right. I wanted to keep learning more and more. Watching English movies was not just a hobby anymore. It was a way to learn and have fun. I felt like I was getting closer to my dream. I wanted to speak like a native, just like the people in the movies. I knew it would take time and practice, but I was ready. I said to myself, one day I will speak English very well. I will talk to people from other countries. I will watch movies and understand everything. These thoughts made me feel strong and happy. Every day I watched, listened, and spoke a little more. Maria and I said, we are not stopping. We are going to keep going. My family supported me too. My brother, my mother, and my father were all proud of me. I was proud of myself too. I knew the journey was still long, but I was not afraid. I was excited to see what I could do. I said to Maria, let's keep watching and speaking. One day we will speak like natives. She smiled and said, yes, Anna. Let's do it together. Chapter 3. Little Challenges, Big Successes. After many weeks of watching movies and practicing speaking, Maria and I felt very happy. We could understand more words now. We could also say many new sentences. But we wanted to speak even better. We wanted to feel more natural, like the people in the movies. One day, our English teacher gave us a new challenge. She said, I want you to talk in English with someone new, not just with each other. Try to talk to someone you do not know well. Maria and I looked at each other. We felt nervous. Talking to new people was hard, but we wanted to try. After school, Maria and I went to a small shop. We saw a man who sold ice cream. I said to Maria, let's talk to him in English. She smiled and said, okay. I walked up and said, hello, do you have ice cream? The man looked surprised, but he smiled. He said, yes, I have ice cream. I said, what is your favorite flavor? He said, I like mango. I smiled and said, me too. Maria said, can I have one mango ice cream, please? The man gave her the ice cream and said, good job, girls. Keep speaking English. We were so happy. We thanked him and walked away, smiling. At home, I told my mother about it. She said, "Anna, you are so brave. I am proud of you." I felt good. I wanted to try more and more. The next day, Maria and I decided to go to the library. We wanted to find some English books. We asked the librarian in English, "Do you have books in English?" The librarian said, "Yes, we have some easy books for you." We looked at the books and found some stories about animals, adventures, and families. We borrowed the books and promised to read them every day. At night, I read a story about a boy who loved to cook. It was a simple story, but I liked it. The boy wanted to cook like his father. He learned new words like kitchen, plate, spoon, and knife. I wrote the words in my notebook. My brother saw me writing and said, "Anna, you are working so hard." I said, "Yes, I want to speak like a native one day." Maria and I talked every day after school. We read the English books and acted out the stories. We liked to play the parts of the animals and the children in the stories. We laughed a lot and learned too. Sometimes we made mistakes, but we always tried again. Our English teacher also gave us small tests. She said, "Listen to this short movie clip and tell me what it is about." Maria and I listened carefully. We heard words like school, friends, and play. We wrote them down and told the teacher, "This is about children playing at school." She said, "Good job, girls. You are learning very well." Her kind words made us want to keep working. One weekend, my parents took us to a small cafe in the city. The people in the cafe liked to speak English. My father said, "Anna, this is a good place to practice. You can order something in English." I felt a little shy, but I wanted to try. I looked at the menu and said to the woman, "Can I have a cup of tea, please?" She smiled and said, "Of course." I felt proud. My father said, "See, you can do it." Maria ordered a small cake in English, too. We felt happy and brave. After that day, Maria and I wanted to talk to more people in English. We looked for chances to use English outside school. We went to small shops, parks, and even talked to some tourists. Sometimes the tourists spoke slowly for us, and that helped us a lot. I remember one day at the park, we met a woman from another country. She spoke English very well. She said, "Hello, girls. How are you?" I said, "I am good, thank you." "And you?" She said, "I am fine too. Where do you go to school?" We told her about our school and our English club. She said, "That is great. Keep learning. You will be very good." I felt very happy to hear that. Maria and I also like to watch English songs on TV. We sang along with the music. We like to dance and sing. My mother said, "You look so happy when you sing." I said, "Yes, Mama. Singing helps me speak better." My brother laughed at us, but then he sang too. Sometimes Maria and I found it hard to understand some words. We asked our teacher, "What does this word mean?" She always helped us. She said, "Do not be afraid to ask. Asking questions helps you learn." So we always asked when we did not understand. One day our English teacher said, "You're ready for a small play. Let's make a short play in English." We were so excited. We chose a small story about a girl and her dog. Maria was the girl. I was the dog. We practiced every day. We wrote our lines and said them again and again. On the day of the play, we stood in front of our class. We were a little nervous, but we remembered our lines. Maria said, "Hello, dog. Let's go to the park." I said, "Woof, woof. Yes, let's go." The class laughed and clapped for us. Our teacher said, "You are getting better and better." We felt proud of our small show. After that, Maria and I wanted to make more short plays. We wrote them in our notebooks. We acted them out in my room or at Maria's house. Sometimes my brother helped us too. It was so much fun and helped us remember the words. At night, I often thought about my dream. I wanted to speak English like the people in the movies. I wanted to talk fast and feel natural. I knew it was not easy, but I also knew that I was getting closer every day. I said to myself, I will keep watching movies. I will keep talking and singing. I will keep trying, even when it is hard. One day I will speak like a native. These thoughts made me feel strong. Maria said, "Anna, you are very good at speaking English now." I said, "Thank you, Maria." You too. We promised to keep helping each other. We knew we were on a good path. My family also supported me every day. My mother said, "Anna, you are not just watching movies. You are learning so much." My father said, "I am very proud of you. Keep going." Their words made me feel even stronger. Every day, Maria and I watched more movies. We found new words and new sentences. We wrote them down. We spoke them again and again. It was not always easy, but it was always fun. I felt that English was now a part of my life. It was not just something I learned at school, it was something I used to talk, to sing, to act, and to play. It made me feel happy and free. At the end of the month, our teacher said, "I see how much you have grown. You are speaking English with more confidence. That is the best way to learn." Maria and I looked at each other and smiled. We knew she was right. We still had a long way to go, but we were ready for it. We wanted to keep learning and growing. We wanted to keep watching movies and speaking like the people in them. I said to Maria, "Let's never stop. Let's always watch and speak." She said, "Yes, Anna, let's do it together." Chapter 4. Maria and I were very happy. We were learning so much English. but we wanted to find more ways to practice. We wanted to speak better and feel more natural, like the people in the movies. One day, our English teacher gave us an idea. She said, "There are many ways to learn English. You can also learn by playing games. Games can help you speak and listen better." Maria and I were excited. We loved playing games. The next day, our teacher brought some simple English games to class. One game was called Word Bingo. She gave each of us a card with words on it. She said, "I will say a word. If you have it on your card, cross it out." She said, "Dog." I looked at my card. I saw dog and crossed it out. Maria did too. We were so excited when we got a line of words. We shouted, "Bingo!" It was so much fun. Another game was called charades. Our teacher wrote some words on cards. We had to act out the word without saying it. Maria picked a card that said swimming. She made swimming moves with her arms. I laughed and shouted, "Swimming!" She smiled and said, "Yes." Then it was my turn. My card said eating. I pretended to eat a big cake. Maria guessed it right away. We were so happy and laughed a lot. At home, I told my mother about the games. She said, "Anna, this is a great way to learn. Keep playing." My brother wanted to play too, so we made our own small games. We wrote words on small papers and took turns acting them out. It was so much fun. Maria and I also found some English videos on the internet. We watched children's cartoons and small stories in English. The words were simple and the voices were slow. We could understand them easily. We liked to watch them again and again. We sang the songs and said the sentences out loud. Sometimes we watched the same movie many times. The first time, we just listened. The second time, we wrote down some words. The third time, we tried to say the words with the people in the movie. This helped us a lot. One evening, my father said, "Anna, you are learning English in a fun way." "You are also teaching your brother," I said. "Yes, Papa." We like to play and learn together. My brother said, "I know some English words too." I was so proud of him. At school, Maria and I also started to make small English videos. Our teacher said, "Why don't you record yourself speaking English? It will help you hear your mistakes." So we took my father's phone and made a video. I said, "Hello, my name is Anna. I like to watch movies in English." Maria said, "My name is Maria. I like to sing English songs." We watched the video and laughed. My voice sounded funny, but I was proud. The next day, we showed the video to our teacher. She said, "Good job, girls. You sound good. Keep doing this." So we made more videos. We acted out small plays and stories. We watched them again and again. We saw where we made mistakes and we tried to say the words better. Maria and I also like to play a game called Find the Word. We wrote some English words on cards and hid them around my house. Then we gave each other clues in English. I said, "Look under the table." Maria found the word book under the table. She laughed and said, "I found it." It was a simple game, but it helped us remember the words. One weekend, Maria and I went to a small English event in the park. There were many children speaking English. There were games, songs, and small stories. We joined a group of children. We sang songs like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and The Wheels on the Bus. We also played a game where we had to say a color and find something that color. I said, red. Maria ran to a red flower and said, here it is. We laughed and felt so happy. I remember one small talk with a boy at the event. He said, hello, what's your name? I said, my name is Anna. What's your name? He said, I'm Peter. Nice to meet you. I said, nice to meet you too. It was a small talk, but it made me feel so happy. I felt like I could really talk in English. Maria said to me, Anna, we are getting so good. I said, yes, Maria. We are speaking like the people in the movies. She said, let's keep going. At night, I often thought about how much fun it was to learn English this way. It was not just about books and school. It was about singing, playing, and talking. It was about feeling happy when I spoke English. My mother said, Anna, you have found your way to learn. That is so special. I said, yes, Mama. I want to keep learning every day. Maria and I promised to keep playing games in English. We promised to keep making videos and talking to new people. We knew that the more we practiced, the better we would get. One day, Maria said, Anna, let's have a small English day at my house. I said, what is an English day? She said, we will only speak English all day. We will eat English food, watch English movies, and play English games. I said, that sounds so fun. We told our parents, and they said, that is a great idea. So on Saturday, I went to Maria's house. We watched a small English movie about animals. We ate sandwiches and drank juice like the children in the movie. We spoke in English all day. Sometimes we made mistakes, but we laughed and kept going. At the end of the day, Maria said, this was the best day. I said, yes, it was so much fun. We learned so much. We decided to have an English day once every month. Maria and I also started to dream about visiting a place where everyone spoke English. We said, one day we will go to a country where people speak English. We will talk to everyone and feel like we are in the movies. We knew it was a big dream, but we believed it could happen. At school, our teacher said, you girls are speaking more like native speakers every day. That is amazing. We felt so happy to hear that. We knew we still had to work hard, but we felt proud of how far we had come. At night, I looked at my English notebook. It was full of new words and sentences. I said to myself, I will keep going. I will never stop. One day I will speak English just like in the movies. I felt strong and ready. Chapter 5. Maria and I were getting better and better at speaking English. We felt happy and proud. We watched more movies and sang more songs. We played more games and made more videos. Every day we practiced a little more. One day our teacher said, We will have an English show next month. Each group will make a small play in English. You will act and speak in front of everyone. I was so excited. Maria was too. We wanted to be in the show. At home, I told my mother. She said, Anna, this is wonderful. What will your play be about? I said, I don't know yet, but Maria and I will think of something fun. The next day, Maria and I sat under a tree at school. We said, what story can we tell? We thought about the movies we had watched. We thought about the songs we liked. Maria said, let's make a play about two girls who love to learn English. Just like us. I said, that is a great idea. We wrote a small story. It was about two girls who wanted to speak English like the people in the movies. They watched movies, sang songs, and played games. They helped each other and never gave up. We started to practice every day. At first, it was hard. We forgot some words and laughed a lot, but we didn't stop. My brother helped us. He said, say the words slowly. You can do it. Every day we learned a little more. We wrote the sentences on big cards to help us remember. We acted out the words with our hands and faces. We tried to speak clearly and with feeling. Maria's mother watched us one day. She said, you two are speaking so well. Your voices are clear and strong. We were so happy to hear that. The day of the big show came. I woke up early and felt a little scared. My mother said, Anna, don't be scared. Just have fun and speak from your heart. At school, there were many children and parents. The stage was small, but it looked very nice. There were bright lights and pretty curtains. My heart beat fast. Maria took my hand and said, we can do this together. Our teacher said, it's your turn, girls. We walked onto the stage. I looked at the people. They were all smiling and waiting. I took a deep breath. I said my first line. My voice was a little quiet, but Maria smiled at me. I felt brave and said the next line louder. Maria spoke her lines clearly. We talked and acted like we were really in the story. We used our hands and faces to show how we felt. The people clapped and cheered for us. I felt so happy. We finished the play and took a bow. Everyone was clapping. My mother's eyes were bright. She said, Anna, you did it. After the show, our teacher said, I am so proud of you. You spoke like native speakers. You worked hard and it showed. Maria and I looked at each other and smiled. That night, Maria and I talked on the phone. She said, Anna, we did it. We spoke like the people in the movies. I said, yes, Maria. We really did. We felt proud and strong. I thought about how we started. At first, we didn't understand much. The movies were too fast and the words were hard. But we didn't stop. We watched and listened again and again. We sang and played and talked to each other. We made mistakes, but we kept going. I said to Maria, we can learn anything if we don't give up. She said, yes, and it is fun too. From that day, I knew I would always love learning English. It was not just about school or books. It was about feeling happy and proud. It was about making friends and dreaming big. Maria and I still watched movies every week. We still sang songs and played games. We still made videos and acted out stories. We knew that learning never stops. One day, Maria said, "Anna, do you remember when we started?" I said, "Yes, I remember." We didn't know many words. She said, "Now we can speak and understand so much." I said, "Yes, because we watched, listened, and practiced every day." My brother was also speaking more English. He said, "Anna, can you help me with my English homework?" I was so happy to help him. I said, "Of course. Let's do it together." At school, I helped some younger children learn English too. I said, "Don't be scared, just listen and practice. You will get better every day." I wanted to share what I had learned. Maria and I had a new dream. We wanted to help other children learn English in a fun way. We said, "One day we will have a small school. We will teach with movies, songs, and games." It was a big dream, but we knew we could do it. I looked at my old English notebook. It was full of words and sentences. I smiled and said, "Thank you, movies. Thank you, songs. Thank you, games. You helped me find my voice." At night, I watched a movie in English. I could understand almost everything. I said the sentences with the people in the movie. I felt like I was part of the story. My mother came and said, "Anna, you are speaking like a native now." I smiled and said, "I still have so much to learn, but I love it." I went to sleep feeling happy and proud. I dreamed of a big world full of people speaking many languages. I dreamed of speaking to people from all over the world. I knew that with movies, songs, and games, I could learn anything. And so, my journey from watching movies to speaking like a native was just the beginning. I was ready for new adventures, new words, and new friends. The end.